Welcome to Messages from the Universe with Laurie Wondra. Laurie is an internationally renowned psychic medium, author, and shamanic practitioner, sharing insights from angels, guides, wisdom keepers, and teachers of the universe that help you navigate life's mysteries and transformations.
Hello, I'm Laurie Wondra, and thank you for listening. Today, I want to talk about the gateways between worlds, this sacred journey that we're on between June, the summer solstice time period, through the Lion's Gate, which is in August, and the solar eclipse of August of 2026. So every year, the universe offers us opportunities to begin again. Some arrive quietly, like a whisper carried on the wind, and others arrive as life-changing events that alter the course of our journey forever. Some come through relationships, unexpected opportunities, moments of inspiration or challenges that force us to see our lives in a different way. Yet all of them have one thing in common. I call them gateways. And to me, a gateway is more than a moment in time. It's an opening in our consciousness. It's a threshold where the old and the new briefly meet. And as humans, we have a decision as to what side of that threshold will we stand. It's a place where possibility exists before it becomes reality. I believe every significant transformation in our lives begins with a gateway. The challenge is that gateways rarely announce themselves with certainty. They do not arrive carrying guarantees. They do not promise certain outcomes. Instead, they're an invitation for us to choose. A gateway to me is an invite into a choice. Will we remain where we are? Or will we step forward into the unknown? And between June 21st, 2026 and August 12th of 2026, I believe we're moving through one of the most powerful energetic corridors of 2026, beginning with the summer solstice in June and then passing through the Lion's Gateway on August 8th and accumulating with the solar eclipse in Leo on August 12th. Now, we also have a lunar eclipse later in the month, but I want to talk about these key dates because this season creates a remarkable sequence of opportunities for personal transformation, spiritual growth, and conscious evolution. The solstice illuminates. It's a reminder of the light and the light within. And the Lion's Gate activates. And in between, we've already had many solar flares of the sun cascading down codes and keys for new actions. And then the eclipse comes in and pushes transformation. Together, all these energies create a sacred progression that mirrors the natural process of awakening itself. First, we become aware, then we choose, and then we become. And for those willing to engage with this energy consciously, the weeks between the solstice and the eclipse offer this profound opportunity to release what has become heavy and reclaim forgotten aspects of ourselves, and then align with a future that may already be trying to emerge. The universe constantly provides us these opportunities. The question has never been whether the gateway exists. The question is whether we're willing to walk through it. And I take that a step further, our willingness to see these gateways. Nature understands something that human beings often forget, that everything moves in cycles. The moon waxes and wanes, the tides rise and fall, and the seasons continuously change. Day becomes night and night becomes day, and nothing remains fixed. Nothing remains static. Everything is engaged in a continual process of becoming. Ancient cultures recognized this truth and organized much of their lives around the rhythms of nature. They understood that certain moments of the year carried unique energetic qualities. The solstices, the equinoxes, the eclipses, the planetary alignments were not viewed merely as astronomical events. They were understood as sacred markers in a larger cosmic conversation. These civilizations understood that human beings are not separate from nature. We're very much part of nature. The same cycle that moves through Earth moves through us. The same force that governs the stars influences the evolution of consciousness. The same intelligence that guides the unfolding of a flower guides the unfolding of the soul. They are not separate. When we align ourselves with these natural rhythms, life often becomes less about struggle and more about participation. We begin moving with the current rather than against it. We begin recognizing opportunities as they arise, and we begin understanding that the universe is not randomly throwing experiences into our lives. Rather, it's continually inviting us toward greater awareness and greater alignment. It invites us into already existing cycles. The period between the summer solstice and the Leo Solar Eclipse is one such invitation. It's a season that asks us to become active participants in our own transformation. The summer solstice on June 21st represented the longest day of the year and the moment when the sun reached its greatest expression of light. And for thousands of years, cultures around the world have honored this day because of what it symbolizes. Light. Light has always represented consciousness, awareness, truth, wisdom, and of course, awakening. And when the light is the strongest, things become visible. That's why we like full moons. It illuminates. We see what was previously hidden. We notice what we've ignored. We become aware of what has been asking for our attention. Spiritually, the solstice acts as a big spotlight shining into every corner of our lives. It illuminates the dreams we have postponed. It illuminates the truths we have avoided, and it illuminates the opportunities we have overlooked. It illuminates the habits that no longer serve us. It illuminates the relationships that require healing or strengthening or perhaps completion. And for many people, this illumination can feel really uncomfortable. We often say we want clarity, yet clarity frequently requires us to confront things we'd rather not see. We'd rather see beyond them or avoid seeing them altogether. But awareness comes before transformation. Before we can change something, we must first acknowledge it. Because once we see something, we cannot unsee it. Before we can release something, we must first recognize that we are holding it. And before we can step through a new doorway, we must become aware that we're standing at the threshold of that doorway. The solstice asks powerful questions. What is the light revealing? What truth am I ready to acknowledge? What opportunity have I been ignoring? And what future is trying to emerge through me? The answers to these questions become the foundation for the entire gateway season that follows. So why do we resist the doorways that are meant for us? Well, one of the greatest paradoxes of human experience is that we often resist the very things we desire most. We desire freedom, but remain attached to limitation. We desire abundance, but continue believing in scarcity. We desire purpose, but avoid opportunities that might reveal that purpose. We desire transformation, but cling to familiarity. Why? Because the known feels safer than the unknown. Even when our current circumstances are unsatisfying, they're still familiar. The mind understands familiar discomfort. The soul seeks expansion, and this tension exists within all of us. Part of us longs for growth, and another part fears what growth might require? Growth requires change, and change requires uncertainty, and uncertainty requires trust. And trust is often the most challenging lesson of all. Many people mistakenly believe fear is evidence that something is wrong. Yet, fear frequently appears whenever we approach the edge of our current identity. Fear often emerges when we are standing before a doorway that could really change our lives. The presence of fear does not mean we should turn around. Often it means we're standing exactly where we need to be. The purpose of this gateway season is not to eliminate fear. The purpose is to prevent fear from becoming the decision maker that stops us from going through any doorway. Imagine for a moment standing on a beautiful sailing vessel. The destination is visible on the horizon. The winds are favorable. The tides are moving. The crew is prepared. Everything is aligned for departure. Yet, the sailing vessel remains motionless. Why? Well, because the anchor remains buried in the ocean floor. Now, this image perfectly illustrates what many people experience during periods of transformation. The universe is sending this favorable winds. Opportunities are appearing and guidance is arriving. The crew is here. The vessel's ready to go. The wind is ready to take you anywhere. The doors are open, yet forward moment never occurs because something continues pulling us backward or holding us where we are. These anchors often take the form of fear, doubt, shame, guilt, regret, resentment, self-judgment, self-worth, limiting beliefs. And sometimes the anchor is an old wound. Sometimes it is a story we have repeated for decades. Sometimes it's a belief inherited from family or from culture or from our environment. Sometimes it is simply the fear of becoming someone different from who you have always been. The anchor itself is not the problem. Anchors do serve an important purpose. They provide stability when stability is needed. The challenge comes when we continue holding on long after the time has come to set sail. Many people are trying to create new future while remaining attached to an old identity. That anchor is holding you there. They are attempting to move forward while energetically tethered to the past. And the result is frustration, it's exhaustion, and it's resistance. A feeling that despite tremendous effort, nothing is changing. The gateway season between the solstice and the Lion's Gate asks us to identify the anchors we continue to carry, or those things that hold us back, because once we become aware of them, we can no longer unsee them, but we also gain the power to release them, to do something about those anchors. As August approaches, the energy begins to shift. The illumination from the solstice transforms into activation. The Lion's Gate occurring on August 8th, and actually in my mind it's from August 8th to the 12th. It's long been associated with expansion, personal empowerment, heart-centered leadership, creativity, courage, and soul expression. The symbolism of the lion is particularly important. The lion does not ask permission to be a lion. The lion does not apologize for its presence. The lion does not shrink itself to make others comfortable. The lion embodies its nature fully and unapologetically. This is the lesson of the Lion's Gate. It asks us where we have been hiding. Where have we been shrinking? Where have we been doubting our gifts? Where have we been waiting for someone else to validate our worth? For many spiritually sensitive people, visibility is one of the greatest challenges. We fear judgment and criticism. We fear misunderstanding. We fear rejection. Yet purpose often requires visibility. A healer cannot help if no one knows they exist. A teacher cannot teach if they never speak. A creator cannot inspire if they never share their work. And the Lion's Gate reminds us that our gifts were never meant to remain hidden. They're meant to be expressed, to be shown, to be shared. They're meant to create ripples, and every ripple has the potential to become a wave. The summer solstice and the light has revealed truth. The summer solstice is often described as the longest day of the year. It actually is the day that we have the most light. But spiritually, it's much more than that astronomical event. It's a gateway of illumination. It is still 24 hours, but it is the day that we have the most light. It is the moment when the light reaches its greatest expression, at least here in the North Hemisphere, and reminds us that consciousness itself is light. Light reveals, light illuminates, light awakens, light exposes what has been hidden. And for this reason, solstice has been honored throughout history as a sacred turning point. Ancient civilizations built temples aligned to the rising sun. Ceremonies were held to celebrate the power of life, growth, and renewal. People understood that the physical light of the sun reflected a deeper spiritual truth. Awareness changes everything. So the solstice energy is not asking us to become someone new. It's asking us to see clearly, to use the illumination of the sun to seek out those places in your life that you haven't wanted to look at. The greatest transformation in our lives rarely begins with action. It begins with awareness first. Before we can heal, we must recognize what hurts. Before we can release something, we must acknowledge we are carrying it. And before we can step into a new chapter, we must understand what chapter is ending. This is the gift of illumination. The light shines into the corners of our lives where we have become comfortably living unconsciously. Let me say that one more time. We have become comfortable living unconsciously. And the light wants us to move into living consciously. It reveals relationships that have reached completion. It reveals dreams that continue whispering despite years of neglect. It reveals patterns we keep repeating. It reveals fears we have allowed to become permanent residents within our mind. And many people ask the universe for clarity, yet clarity is often uncomfortable because clarity asks us to be honest. Clarity asks us to stop pretending. Clarity asks us to acknowledge what we already know deep within ourselves. So during the solstice season, many people experience a heightened sense of awareness. Situations that once seemed confusing suddenly become obvious. Decisions that felt impossible become clear. Long-standing questions begin to find answers. And the soul recognizes what the mind has been struggling to understand. This is why the solstice is the beginning of the gateway season. You cannot walk through a doorway you cannot see. The light must first reveal the doorway. Yet, illumination alone is not enough. The light may show us the path, but we must still choose to walk it. This is where many people become stuck, or they feel they're stuck. The universe reveals the opportunity, the universe reveals the truth, and the universe reveals the next step, but awareness and action are not the same thing. Most people do not remain stuck because they lack opportunities. They remain stuck because they remain attached to the anchors that are fears, beliefs, wounds, stories that keep them connected to an older version of themselves. Some anchors originate from childhood and others from disappointment, failure, rejection, loss, or betrayal. And some are inherited from family systems and collective beliefs. The anchor may be fear of failure. The anchor may be fear of success. The anchor may be fear of being seen. The anchor may be fear of disappointing others. The anchor may be the belief that we are not worthy, not ready, or not enough. Whatever form it takes, the anchor serves the same purpose in that it keeps us from moving. Now, as we move into the Lion's Gate, an activation, this is where we call upon the lion's courage, the passion to walk through the door. Because once the light has revealed the truth, a new question emerges. What are you going to do about it? This is where the energy begins to shift. The weeks between the solstice and the Lion's Gate are a period of activation. Awareness becomes transforming into movement. Insight becomes transforming into action, and possibility begins transforming into choice. The Lion's Gate between August 8th and 12th represents that gateway of courage, empowerment, self-expression, and conscious creation. So again, if the solstice revealed the gateway, the Lion's Gate asks us to step through it. And the lion symbolizes courage. You can do this. Leadership. You know how to do this. Sovereignty. It's part of your mission and passion. Confidence and heart-centered power. The lion does not seek permission to be what it was created to be. It does not apologize for its presence. The lion simply embodies its nature. This is the invitation. Embody what is natural to you, to become fully yourself, not who others expect you to be, not who fear tells you to be, not who you were 10 years ago, but who you are becoming now. Many people spend years trying to discover their purpose, yet purpose is rarely something we find. Purpose is something we embody. It emerges naturally when we stop hiding from our gifts. I believe the Lion's Gate shines a spotlight on where we have been shrinking, where you've been minimizing your talents. They're there. You just haven't seen them. Where have you been waiting for permission? Where have you been playing small to make others comfortable? Where have you allowed fear to determine your future? These are not easy questions. I understand that, yet they are necessary questions because the Lion's Gate is fundamentally about claiming ownership over our lives. The gateway teaches that courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is moving despite fear. Many people wait for confidence before taking action, and life rarely works that way. Confidence is often the result of action. We act, we learn, we grow. Confidence follows. The Lion's Gate reminds us that transformation begins with a choice to trust others, a choice to trust the journey, a choice to trust the calling of the soul. Every choice creates that ripple. This is one of the most powerful spiritual truths. Nothing exists in isolation. Every thought creates energy, and every action creates momentum. Every decision creates consequences, and every single conversation can alter the course of a relationship. A single opportunity can alter the course of a career. A single act of courage can alter the course of an entire lifetime. Most people underestimate the power of their choices because they focus only on immediate outcomes. But the universe sees a much larger, expansive picture. Every aligned decision sends ripples into the future. So a decision made today may create opportunities years from now. A choice to trust yourself today may inspire someone else tomorrow. A single courageous act may impact generations. The Lion's Gate reminds us that we are not passive observers in life. We are in it. We're participants. We're in the cycle. We're creators and co-creators with the universe, and every choice matters. not to scare you, not to put pressure on, but every choice and every action matters. Every expression of authenticity matters. You matter. So the question is no longer whether the door exists. The question becomes, will you walk through it? Will you trust the possibility that's calling forward? Will you release the anchor and allow the current of the energy that exists right now to carry you toward a greater expression of yourself? And the Lion's Gate asks us to answer yes. So let's talk about the eclipse of August 12th of 2026 and the birth of a new future. 4 days after the Lion's Gate, the universe offers another extraordinary opportunity. August 12th. Now, you heard me mention before, I believe the Lion's Gate is August 8th through 12th. So this year, it's super powerful because on August 12th, a solar eclipse occurs in Leo. This is not simply another celestial event. It's a accumulation of the entire gateway season. The solstice illuminates. The Lion's Gate activates and the solar eclipse transforms. It pushes us for action. Eclipses have long been regarded as accelerators of destiny. They compress timelines, they reveal truths, and they bring endings and beginnings. They remove obstacles that have overstayed their purpose, and they open doors that could not have been opened before. So most importantly, eclipses have a way of moving us toward our future, whether we feel ready or not. The solar eclipse represents a new beginning, an opportunity to reset, a point of a new beginning, a cosmic invitation to step into a new chapter. And because this eclipse occurs in Leo, the themes of courage, visibility, authenticity, leadership, creativity, and heart-centered living become amplified. The light shines on those areas. Leo energy asks a powerful question. Are you willing to be seen? For many people, visibility is more frightening than failure. Visibility means allowing others to witness our gifts. Visibility means expressing our truth, and visibility means stepping beyond the safety of anonymity. Visibility means taking up space. And this eclipse may bring opportunities that require people to become more visible than they have ever been before. Some may be called to teach, others to create, others to lead, and others to heal, others to finally share gifts that they have hidden for years. And the eclipse energy asks us to stop asking whether we're worthy. Instead, it asks whether we are willing. Are you willing to trust yourself? Are you willing to trust your gifts? Are you willing to trust the purpose that continues calling you forward? One of the most profound effects of eclipses is their ability to dissolve outdated timelines. We often think of the future as fixed, but it's not. The future exists as a collection of possibilities. Every choice creates a different timeline. Every belief creates a different trajectory, and every act of courage opens a different future. There's multiple doorways down the hallway you're walking down. During eclipse season, many people experience what can only be described as destiny moments. Suddenly, circumstances shift, unexpected opportunities appear, and old situations collapse. But new possibilities emerge because the universe never allows empty space. There simply doesn't exist. The soul begins moving toward a timeline more aligned with its highest expression, and this process is not always comfortable. Transformation rarely is. The caterpillar must release its identity of being a caterpillar before it can become a butterfly, and the seed must break open before it becomes the tree. So this is true also with the old self must be released before the new self can emerge. And the Leo eclipse asks us to release identities that no longer fit. The version of ourselves that doubted our worth. The version that sought external validation. The version that lived according to fear. Or the version that believed limitation was permanent. Those identities may have served a purpose to who you were in the past. They helped you survive, but they cannot lead you into the future. The future requires a new level of consciousness, a new level of authenticity, a new level of trust, a new level of courage. The eclipse invites us to become our future self, not someday, but now. What would your future self choose? What would your future self believe? What would your future self release? And what would your future self create? The answers to those questions reveal the path forward. This is the ultimate purpose of the Gateway season. Not simply to inspire us, not simply to motivate us, but to transform us, to move us from awareness into embodiment. Once we've seen something, we can't unseen it. We need to act upon it. And this energy moves us from possibility into reality, to move us from who we have been into who we came here to become. And as the solstice, the Lion's Gate, and the Leo eclipse energies weave all together, they create this powerful corridor that helps us remember that the universe is always offering us gateways. The doorway is always present. The invitation is always available. But what changes is our willingness to walk through it. The light reveals, courage activates, transformation unfolds, and the anchor is lifted. The current begins to move, the ripple becomes a wave, and the very force that once felt overwhelming becomes the force that carries us forward, clear sailing. The solstice showed us the truth. The Lion's Gateway asked us to choose, and the eclipse asks us to become. The gateway's open. The future is calling. And somewhere beyond the threshold stands the person you have always been destined to be, waiting for you to finally say yes. I'm Laurie Wondra of Your Life Core, and thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening to Messages from the Universe. For information about Laurie Wondra's current events or to schedule a private session, visit her website, yourlifecore.com. You can also subscribe to our monthly newsletter. Laurie also shares inspirational and informational messages on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Thanks again for listening.